David, from your perspective, and this is to you as well, Richard. Actually, probably all three of you. John McAfee came out yesterday or the day before, where he predicted that Bitcoin would be at $1 million by 2020. He originally said 500,000, and he said he would eat his penis or something, which is a bit bizarre. But anyway, what do you guys think? Where would you put the price of Bitcoin by 2020? It's not you. You won't be held to it. It's your opinion, but I'm just interested.
In 1995, Bob Metcalfe, the inventor of the Ethernet, predicted that by 1996, the internet would go spectacularly supernova and then crash. And if not, he was ready to eat his words, not his penis. And he was wrong. And at a worldwide internet conference in 1999, he printed out his prediction on a sheet of paper and then put it in a blender together with some liquids and drank it. So he was true to that. He came through. I know John personally, and I certainly wish for his prediction not to cost his penis. It sounds an incredible number, right? It sounds an incredible number. I don't think he means by January 2020. He means December 2020. Definitely, that is what he will say if you ask him. So there's three years to go. 3 years in the crypto space is a long time. One order of magnitude increase basically happened during 2017. If other 2 orders of magnitude increase happen during these 3 years, that is where we will end up. So what is required for those 3 orders of magnitude to go from 10,000 to 100,000 and then to 1 million? We need to broaden the adoption of Bitcoin and blockchain, and we have to strengthen the success of solid, honest, practical, and meaningful and valuable projects like Migrate's Wealthy Coin, because those create a virtuous circle. And if we calculate the network value of Bitcoin, and then we try to multiply together with that what the other crypto tokens are going to be worth, so the network value of the global blockchain ecosystem, that will be a quite staggering number. Today it is around $300 billion. So that will be in the tens of trillions of dollars. And tens of trillions of dollars is actually starting to be comparable to global money supply, that very significant macroeconomic indicators. So he expressed it in an extremely colorful manner, but underlying there are fundamental global social economic shifts at play that all of us will have to understand in time in order to adapt to them, because they are coming and they will sweep enterprises, governments, individuals, communities in their wake, and we'd better be riding the wave together with everybody listening to this webinar rather than being swept aside by it.
Wonderful. Richard, what price would you guess predict Bitcoin's at the end of 2020?
I'm reminded of one of my favorite quotes from Pod Save America, this from Crooked Media, which is, "I'm not in the predictions business." However, I frankly thought we'd hit 10,000 at the end of next year. We just hit 12 today, 13 I think actually in a couple markets. So I don't know. It's the market dynamics, as David pointed out earlier, is all about, it's like fax machines, right? The more people who are connected and using it, the larger it's getting, the more capital it's trying to get in, the less people who are selling. As long as those functions stay the same, as long as our geopolitical situation stays the same, as long as there's no major impact or event that causes people to lose confidence, I think tripling, quadrupling, quintupling, these are all reasonable expectations. It's really about what percentage of the global wealth is going to be held in this new store of value as a hedge against, you know, all the other vagaries of geopolitical instability.
Okay, and Michael, from your perspective, what is your thoughts on 2020?
Well, I predicted in 2014 that we would be at 10,000 by 2020, so I won. Now let's see. In 2020, you know, I think there's two paths to go. If Bitcoin continues to sort of be the leading store of value, and nothing sort of comes around to sort of like, you know, replace it. If there's, I mean, there's a number of competitors in terms of both store of value that simultaneously are faster at ordinary transactions. I mean, the Bitcoin Cash initiative that all the old timers have both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin because it was a fork, meaning that at the time of holding it, they got both. You know, it's possible that Bitcoin Cash can make another run at Bitcoin, and that will probably come out of Bitcoin's market cap. But for the most part, you know, they've called a lot of the old timers. They call Bitcoin the honey badger. You've seen the video, very funny video about the honey badger by Randall. You know, it just keeps eating everything in its way. It doesn't care. It just keeps on going. You know, eats poisonous animals, passes out, keeps on eating. And Bitcoin seems to have done that. The algorithm was brilliant. It factored in a lot of things. I mean, the fact that we got through the treacherous years of 2011 and 2013, where you really had governments, if they wanted to, could have caused great damage to the on-ramps, could have, like, you know, made exchanges illegal, could have, instead they licensed them. So, and now that you've got a lot of large institutions putting money to work, it's typical to say, oh, you know, Trump's going to just make Bitcoin illegal. It's just like, really? Do you know how much money, you know, the Rothschilds now have in it? Do you know how much money, you know, the New York Stock Exchange invested in Coinbase? I mean, we're like Switzerland now for Bitcoin in terms of the wealth is just there's a lot of one percenters with wealth in Bitcoin who were one percenters before Bitcoin, and of course a lot now after Bitcoin that were not one percenters and now are just because they bought and held from the early days, meaning actually quite as recently as 2 years ago when Bitcoin was at $200. You know, if you went and, you know, bought $20,000 worth, you know, you've got 1,000 Bitcoins, and that makes you a multimillionaire. You're worth about $12 million just from simply putting 20,000 and holding it. And that's not like the crazy stuff of like if you bought it for a nickel and bought $20,000. We're talking 2 years ago when everybody had already known about Bitcoin and seen it go up and down a few times. We may have a cycle or two like that, but I'd say my average prediction would be that we're at about 20 to 25,000 by the end of 2018. I think that 2021 will be a bigger year than 2020 because of the halving. It takes a little while to go up, and if we're going to hit 100,000, I think it would be in 2021 or 2022. But by 2020, I could certainly see us being at 50,000.
Well,